Based on the graphic novels of the same name, 13 is making an entry into the video game market, but bringing with it a distinctive comic book feel. The story revolves around the eponymous 13, a mysterious figure who awakens with no memory of his past, only the Roman numerals 13 tattooed on his shoulder, and the key to a safe deposit box in a New York bank. From this less than promising start, the story slowly unravels, revealing a sinister plot against 13, the US government, and even the president himself. Alter Echo takes you to the world of Proteus, where the very surface consists of an organic substance called multiplast, or simply plast. This important substance can be transformed into all sorts of biomachines by the psychic talents of the Shapers. And here you play Nevin, one such Shaper. But Nevin has another gift, the power of time dilation. And it's for this reason that he's chosen to help out when a rogue Shaper named Pavo creates a new form of self-aware plast called Xenoplast. The problem being that this material doesn't want to be abused by mankind and is creating hordes of minions to protect itself. Nevin's shaping powers allow him to quickly switch between three forms: a fast and lethal melee mode, the gun mode's walking tank, and the agile and cunning stealth mode. Beyond this, his time dilation talents allow him to hold time long enough to establish a chain of actions. And the Power of Juju features the latest character from THQ's partnership with Nickelodeon, with the slight difference that Tak is coming in video game format first, with the TV series following later. Set in a beautifully presented and primitive tribal setting, Tak is a young shaman's apprentice who's landed the job of saving his village from an evil sorcerer by recovering a collection of stolen moonstones. There are a variety of seamlessly integrated puzzles and action challenges facing Tak, but he has his rattle to help him hand out some retribution and a free targeting blowgun that even doubles as a pole vault. But the power that will serve him best in this adventure is his magic, the power of Juju. Set in the sinister future presented in Games Workshop's Warhammer 40k universe, Fire Warrior takes you to the 41st millennium and the grim era of the Imperium. The vast battlefield spans across thousands of worlds and powerful armies of space marines, Imperial guardsmen, bestial orcs and Tau warriors are in constant conflict. You take on the role of a young Tau warrior, a member of the Fire Warrior caste, battling alone against the mighty forces of the Imperium. But you'll soon discover that there's a dark foe involved, as the creepy horror atmosphere provides plenty of shocks and surprises. You have a single day in which to complete your mission, in which you'll encounter a twisted cast of characters, wield an arsenal of 15 awesome weapons, and battle your way through 17 varied and exciting levels. And there's even a 4-player mode if you fancy a bit of company. Splashdown 2 is the sequel to the awesome, top-selling racing game of 2001, bringing us the next wave in watercraft racing. Inspired by the spectacle and excitement of theme parks and thrill rides, you'll find yourself racing through 8 huge outdoor courses, filled with imaginative scenery and packed with startling events around every corner. And that's before you get to the 12 tricky indoor stadium tracks and dozen technical time trial races. But even with all this new glitz, the amazing water effects and physics technology have also improved, bringing us bigger waves, swift currents and treacherous downhill rivers. The other major new feature is the stunt chain system that lets you kick off more than 75 separate stunts. That's more than twice the original game. And there's even a new freestyle stunt mode to let you show it all off. THQ is always on the lookout for new ways to bring its WWE license to the fans, and WWE Crush Hour has to be one of the most novel ideas yet. It seems that the WWE superstars are getting out of the ring and taking their grievances onto the road.
Now that's extreme.
There are over 30 licensed stars, each equipped with their own personal vehicle of destruction, and all mouthing off with the personality and excitement that fans of the series have come to expect.
Precise shots fired there by Kurt Angle.
As they maraud around the 13 multi-layered indoor and outdoor arenas, collecting even more destructive weapons and awesome power-ups, these belligerent brutes will stop at nothing to get one over on each other. This is car combat with attitude.
Shots in all directions.
Speed Kings takes you into the thick of the action with some extreme street motorcycle racing. Like Burnout 2 but with fewer wheels, you'll need lightning reflexes and nerves of steel in order to weave your way through the city traffic and police traps. There are 22 bikes available, all based on production and custom real-world models, and available in 3 single-player and 5 multiplayer game modes. There's a whole range of insane stunts to pull off, and when it all goes wrong, there are some awesome crash sequences to enjoy. Shoplifter Search and Rescue puts you behind the controls of 6 authentically reconstructed whirlybirds. Your mission is to save lives, rescuing people from natural and not so natural disasters, and generally putting the world to rights. You hero, you. The 6 helicopters come from both civilian and military hangars, with each one being authentically recreated from the actual manufacturer's specifications, right down to the flight physics and genuine cockpit layouts. There are 22 missions in which to try out your flying skills and your ability to handle the incredible pressure of having lives on the line. These scenarios vary from saving victims of a hotel fire, coping with an erupting volcano, airlifting survivors from a boating accident, chasing an explosive packed bus, and dealing with a mountaintop plane crash. To help you get airborne, there's an extensive, intuitive and progressive training mode. And when you feel like a diversion, there are several entertaining mini-games with which to test your skills. And when you've just pulled off that daring rescue, saving the people from the sinking boat and pulling away before the tornado hits, then you can sit back and enjoy the whole spectacle using the highly entertaining replay mode. It makes a significant change to have a game so packed full of drama and excitement, but where the aim is to save lives rather than take them. And Shoplifter does a decent job of holding it all together and making the whole thing entertaining. Any fool can shoot someone, but this is what being a real hero is all about.
For reinforcements.
With the hype starting to build around the new X-Men movie, Activision's latest Mutant Melee is set to go large. evil scientists have planted a viral time bomb within Wolverine's innards, and with only 24 hours to live, he must return to the clandestine Department H facility to uncover the terrible secrets behind Weapon X and the dastardly experiments that turned our mutant hero into an uncontrollable killing machine. And because of the virus, Wolverine's regenerative abilities will be impaired the further on in the game you go, meaning you can rely less and less on it to see you through tricky situations. Wolverine's special powers have obviously been incorporated into the combat system. Plus, there's a clever level up feature to ensure players really make the most of our hero's abilities. There's over 50 attacks, and some of them are place or character specific, using stealth attacks when sneaking up on a target from behind, or target specific body parts in the later battles. It's up to you when and where you pull out those claws, and those flashing icons present the opportunity for multi-hit combos. The environments aren't looking too special at the moment, but all the devices are in place. Sensor cameras will scan the areas Logan's about to pass through, and using his animal senses, he can avoid all these at will. And his heightened vision can spot the guards lurking in the dark a mile off, so he can get on with the important business of slaughtering them all. Unlike the other X-Folk, Wolverine has no long-range abilities or elemental powers, but his deadly right hook and claws provide a decent combination of brutish battling, and this will definitely appeal to the comic-loving fans and mainstream moviegoers alike.
What the
hell was that? Hey, Buds, are you getting this? Gunshots! Lucy!
Everyone remain calm. There's nothing to be alarmed about.
And I always thought art was boring. You're running.
Originally developed for GameCube, this first-person shooter is based on the popular Bruce Willis action franchise and sees New York cop John McClane giving terrorists a healthy dose of their own medicine. Boasting an original plot that's comfortably similar to the films, the story unfolds thus. McClane's daughter is now in the force and finds herself caught up in a situation that unsurprisingly involves lots of bad guys with guns. Sporting his trademark hangover attitude combination, John watches the event unfold on TV and heads down to the scene where he not only meets up with old friends Sergeant Al Powell and morose TV reporter Richard Dick Thornburg, but also learns that Hans Gruber's son is in town and means business, which might explain the return to Nakatomi Plaza towards the end of the game, the setting for the original Die Hard movie.
Following the blood should lead you right to him, John.
Like most first-person shooters, the game accommodates two distinct styles of play. You can either pile in all guns blazing, made easier via the auto-aim feature, which unsurprisingly targets every available enemy in succession, allowing you to shoot with ease. Or you can take a stealthier approach, which is often the best way, with hostages and innocent people around.
Chill out. You ain't gonna die in the sewer.
Luckily for McClane, there's a huge arsenal of weapons available, including revolvers, automatic pistols, sniper rifles, submachine guns, and even crossbows. And if all else fails, you'll always have your fists. The The controls are gratifyingly similar to most other first-person shooters out there, which isn't a bad thing, as it means most players will be able to dive straight into the action. In this current early state, Die Hard Vendetta is shaping up to be a fast-paced romp through some compelling environments.
Proximity.
The visuals aren't quite as sharp as we hoped for in the finished version, and the character models and texturing is rather ropey in places, but there's still plenty of time to polish things up. If you're bored of Tekken, Mortal Kombat or any other decent fighting game, then Dynasty Warriors 3 Extreme Legends could be the perfect solution for you. But chances are some of you already own 85% of this game already, and the dilemma that faces many a Dynasty Warrior fan is a tricky one. With the imminent release of Dynasty Warriors 4, the KOE Corporation has craftily rolled out this expansion-tastic version of Dynasty Warriors 3, promising additional delicacies that any Dynasty Warriors fan would find hard to resist. This spruced-up version includes new challenge modes, a combo evaluation system, a bodyguard editor, and of course more weaponry to boost the already remarkable fighting experience. For those who felt that Dynasty Warriors 3 fell short in the challenge department, the inclusion of the cunningly named Extreme Mode offers a wiser bunch of AI goons. But don't let this fool you into thinking there's any kind of new strategy involved to the battlefield craziness. As before, it's all about laying waste to entire armies of rampaging madmen, and it's still as endlessly gratifying as ever. The one big noticeable difference, however, is the inclusion of Muso modes for a wider range of characters, which should win favour with the fans, but so far there's a distinct lack of any new stages for these new missions, and everything appears to be recycled from original levels you've already played countless times over. In fact, all these novelties are merely a sprinkling of garnish that could have made Dynasty Warriors 3 more palatable in the first place, and considering the sheer amount of challenges involved in actually completing the game, would anyone in their right mind really want to do it all over again? Midlands-based developer Codemasters feels the time has come to try its hand at something beyond the realms of the touring car and rally-based motoring for which it's become famous. And with the official license to the fastest motorsport event in the world well and truly bagged, IndyCar Series promises to be a driving game that sports blisteringly quick pace and bags of realism. As an official game of the sport, the highlight of the package is undeniably the Indy 500 itself, presented as a separate game mode, complete with a manic qualifying system whereby 50 drivers take to the track in an attempt to force their way into the fastest 33. Plus you get a full 15-race season mode stacked with 27 top drivers, 15 accurately modelled tracks and a huge selection of podium and pit stop cutscenes, just to keep things extra authentic. And thanks to the close-packed racing nature of the Indy events, there's a whole textbook of tactics that need to be mastered. And it's in this respect that IndyCar Series really deviates from the standard racing game. Since all the cars are similar in performance, the skill of the driver is the biggest deciding factor in a race. And this leads to scenarios where the player can be wheel-to-wheel in a pack of 4 or more cars at over 200 miles per hour. At this kind of speed, with so many other cars around you, there's a level of tension and exhilaration that other racing games fail to deliver. But there is one niggling concern about the potential for extremely tedious racing. Considering that practically all 15 circuits are based around ovals and consist entirely of straights and left-hand turns, you could literally end up being driven around the bend. But when you consider the sorrowful state of Formula One and the overall package that's on offer here, Codemasters could well be onto a winner. Thanks to the success of KOE's historically based mass fighting style Dynasty Warriors, we can now enjoy the inevitable knockoff title or two. Originally conceived for GameCube and now ported to PS2, Mystic Heroes takes after Dynasty Warriors in concept, but it is clearly aimed at a younger audience. Loosely based on the age-old Chinese novel Hushi Engi, the game is for the most part a button-bashing beat-em-up, focused around large-scale battles and strategic team play. The main single-player story mode lets you choose between 4 different fighters, each balanced differently with a wide range of magical attacks, and the fighting engine centers on the ability to whack multiple foes in true Dynasty Warriors fashion. And it really couldn't be easier. Just mash the circle button and you'll knock your opponents left, right and center.
The Shinben is glowing with power? That must mean...
A combo-based system is in place, and pressing various combinations of all 3 buttons will bust out a merry dance of both swordplay and magical conjuring. On the defensive side of things, you can guard or dodge with trigger buttons, which does add a meager amount of depth to the proceedings. Magic and health meters need to be monitored, but you can pick up power items frequently and your magic only takes a few seconds to replenish. The action unfolds in huge, wide-open environments, straight from the Dynasty Warriors series, stretching off in almost every direction, with small pockets of foes materializing before you. This really is set to be Dynasty Warriors for the younger generation. The game structure is pretty much identical, it's incredibly simple to get into, but the no-frills pure action theme could become repetitive rather quickly. We'll let you know soon enough. After the success of its predecessor, Dark Cloud 2 has a lot to live up to. And since it continues to incorporate many of the original ideas, this beautiful RPG looks set to achieve just that. Many aspects of the game remain the same as the original, with just some fine-tuning and visual overhauls to bring things up to date. Again, much of the game is spent crawling around randomly generated labyrinths while searching for the exit key. And combat remains much the same, still using the lock-on system and real-time action, very much akin to that used in Zelda. Building feature is also returning, now with even more features and allowing you to create even more complex towns with greater ease. To do this, you need to discover the special ores randomly dotted around the dungeons, then feed these ores into your town building machine, which will tell you which town elements you can make. Then you need to go out and find or buy the necessary components for your town features. It's slightly more complicated than the original, but still very easy to pick up and use. There's also a nice invention feature. Simply take pictures of several items together and you can create an idea card with the schematics for a new invention. Then find or buy the materials and you can make yourself a new toy. You can either experiment with combinations of items yourself or find suggestions as you explore the world. There are plenty of other nice touches to this beautifully presented RPG, such as a comprehensive tutorial, lots of entertaining mini-games and character switching functions. In fact, everything that made the first game great and then a whole lot more. PS2 point-and-click adventuring is slightly thin on the ground, and not without good reason. These frustrating slogs through static backgrounds are often too dry for their own good. Besides, our perfectly formed joypad just wasn't designed to accommodate those clunky, unintuitive PC-style interfaces. But there's no denying that Siberia does look the absolute business. Take the opening sequence, for instance. Darkly dressed, faceless mechanical figures appear in the distance, somberly following a horse-drawn funeral procession, bearing the coffin of a one Anna Borrelberg, a Swiss toy factory owner, who American lawyer Kate Walker has come to organise a takeover deal with. Of course, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than just a wayward business deal. The toy factory wasn't your normal, everyday toy factory. And somehow, the toys have become sentient. They think for themselves, and worryingly enough, have even started producing more of themselves.
But you're here to stop that happening, aren't you? Our future is in your hands, Miss Walker.
Doesn't look like that works.
Everything requires meticulous point-and-click exploration as you shuffle around looking for objects to combine in interesting ways. Kate is very much the reserved tourist type and inspects everything in silence, but should you get stuck on a particularly taxing puzzle, the game can give you some direction via Kate's mobile phone. More importantly, the phone will also be the vehicle through which Kate develops through the course of the story.
Martin and Mormont, how can I help you?
What's really annoying though is the amount of trekking from one location to another through several screens that, while admittedly very pretty, serve no real purpose. Siberia is definitely not without its charm though. The story is interesting and cleverly told through diaries, notes and letters, and this could turn out to be a very solid adventure if you have the patience for it. In the world of ice hockey, EA's NHL series is undeniably king. The huge heap of game modes complete with seasons and transfers, the genuinely amusing commentary, hell, you can even lay down your stick and punch the crap out of each other for the sheer entertainment of it all. And what's more, it looks gorgeous as well.
Sends it over to
Ice hockey fans couldn't possibly ask for more in a sports game. But now with Sega's very own Dreamcast NHL series arriving on PS2, there's bound to be some bitter sports rivalry between the two. But what can Sega possibly offer that EA hasn't done to death already?
Macaulay brings the puck up through the zone. And he takes the snap
NHL
shot.
2K3 strikes a balance between arcade slap and serious sports sim.
He takes a wrist shot. LeCorvier passes it over to Modine. Willis takes it past the blue line.
For those who know absolutely nada about the strategic side of things, but seek the immediate thrills the sport has to offer, NHL 2K3 can be set up in such a way that many of the simulation aspects are handled directly by the computer, freeing you for more satisfying distractions, like elbowing rivals in the face and instigating a button-mashing punch-up. The controls are pleasingly adjustable too. For those seeking a pure arcade style of handling, the basic control setup offers a stripped-down control scheme, allowing for easy pick-up and playability. But for those who enjoy the realism, the advanced control setting requires the use of a trigger button to modify both offensive and defensive shots. For example, without the modifier, you can make a normal pass, but hold down the trigger and you can make a flip pass also. Likewise with shot selection. The whole system works well enough, but takes a bit of getting used to. The goalie reactions are ramped up too, and you'll need to think fast to capitalise on crucial rebounds and kick saves. Plus, there's a franchise mode offering budgets, seasons and trades, and a slew of important player stats which track player careers for your careful consideration. So far, it looks fucking great. We'll have more soon. Following in the current trend for reinventing classic titles, the NES favourite Rygar is returning in the form of Rygar the Legendary Adventure. Now boasting freeform 3D movement, it still carries the essence of the original 2D platforming combat formula that made it such a hit. Set against a shockingly mangled Greco-Roman backdrop, Rygar quests through region after region, obliterating monsters, gathering power-ups and causing irreparable damage to ancient monuments. His weapon is one of the most unique weapons in the history of gaming. Known as the Disc Armor, this whirling yo-yo of death proves very versatile in defense, offense, and even transportation. There's a variety of different incarnations to collect, each with its own specialities, moves, spells, and attacks. So the range of combos and moves available should keep everyone entertained throughout Rygar's quest. The gameplay mainly consists of exploration and combat, but you can also find a selection of key quests and skill-based physical puzzles to challenge your talents, even if most of them are just a matter of finding and reaching the switch to open the door. As you can see, it's an excellent looking game, boasting plenty of detail and many opponents and bosses in keeping with the style of the original game. The camera work is also first class, making for some stylish and dramatic scenes. Fans of the original are sure to like this new re-imaging of Rygar's adventures, and those new to decimating the opposition in a flurry of yo-yoing carnage are also in for a treat.
Rygar, the legendary adventure.
Taking history and giving it a sense of humour, Ben-Hur Blood of Braves follows in the footsteps of such high-quality productions as Xena Warrior Princess and other mockeries of classical civilization. On the other hand, most of those have some redeeming features of one sort or another. As you can see, the basic premise is chariot racing. Whether it's through the empty streets of Rome, the deserted byways of Egypt, or the desolate roads of Greece, it's all a matter of flogging those horses in order to nudge that little bit ahead. The controls are much the same as any other racer, except for the option to double tap the X button to whip your horses into an even faster frenzy. As exciting as all that is, it gets better. When you bring your chariot alongside the opposition on a straight, your horses get on with the racing while you get the chance to beat 7 bells out of your rivals. A successful bout of slapstick brawling will leave them back in the dust and you with a fair chance of victory, provided you can bring yourself to care. On the plus side, there is a fair sense of speed, especially compared to PS2's other chariot racer, Circus Maximus, and you even get the opportunity to upgrade your weapons and spells. Overall, Ben-Hur isn't really going to leave any lasting impression. Once you've rattled the chariot around one race, you've seen about all there is to see. It's not that it really does anything wrong, it's just it completely fails to inspire the imagination in any way. Rayman 3 is definitely showing its age. Don't get us wrong, it's a great game, offering a varied and immersive adventure in the unique Rayman style. It's just that nothing seems to have changed since the previous wacky adventure. Hoodlum Havoc unsurprisingly opens up with the usual Rayman-style adventure, a loving mix of platforming and puzzle-based action. And it's still very much a case of bounding around big, vibrant worlds in search of those elusive lums. So it's fair to say that Rayman 3 provides little in the way of innovation. There's a welcome emphasis in combat, and by targeting enemies through the R1 button, you can strike them down whilst on the move. And Rayman also has some new powers to help him in his quest. The gameplay is pleasingly diverse too, and there are plenty of times where you'll be plunged into various unorthodox scenarios, like flying or swimming. The mini-games are more substantial than your average platformer as well. There's a 2D platform homage to the original Rayman outing, and a souped-up tennis pong-style game starring the Hoodlums. Plus, there are loads of wonderfully animated extras to unlock, like the reasonably funny Hoodlum corporate training videos.
faster you run, the faster you die.
The loading times are kept to a minimum, and everything generally runs as it should, with the camera system being extremely well behaved for a change. The value of Rayman is pure, uncomplicated fun. We know it's hardly innovative and slightly old-fashioned compared to the more modern platform offerings, but there's heaps of varied and immersive action on offer here. If you're a platform fan, then you'll enjoy this one loads. Honestly, a rap-themed wrestling game. So much for Stop the Violence in hip-hop. But good old-fashioned brawling is much more honourable than mindless gun trouble. And this has to be the best-looking, hard-hitting wrestler we've seen in ages. Def Jam Vendetta is completely devoid of WWF-style loonies in leotards, signing up 12 larger-than-large rappers like DMX and Method Man from the legendary Def Jam Recordings label. Plus, all the 30 made-up wrestlers have their own personality, moves and taunts, acting like true wannabe gangster types. As you'd expect from a Def Jam tie-in, there's serious beats to accompany the brawling too. Not just new tunes, all the old Def Jam classics can be found, providing the perfect backdrop for a rowdy takedown. Def Jam plays just as good as it sounds too, and the wrestling definitely works. It's fast, furious, and at times downright ludicrous, with crazy somersault moves and plenty of crotch grabbing. The whole combat system works revolving around momentum. The more momentum you have, the better your fight, and you can build it up by encouraging the crowd with cheers, showboating, and expert pummeling of opponents. There's a fair amount of crotch kicking too, mostly the preserve of lady fighting, which works in pretty much the same style as the gentlemanly approach. Every time you win with a girl, you unlock pics of her in a special stroke album. The first lot are free, and then you buy the rest with the money you get from fights. It's certainly more polished than WWE SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, but unfortunately doesn't offer as many hours of enjoyment. With a few more fight options and a longer and more varied career mode, Def Jam Vendetta could have owned SmackDown completely.
But nobody ever beats me.
Love of the Jurassic period extends to the joys of theme park management, then Jurassic Park Operation Genesis could well be the dino-observing paradise you've always dreamt of. The basic aim is to create a popular money-spinning theme park by managing the main attractions wisely, and catering for customer demand will soon ensure financial success. There is, of course, the small matter of protecting visitors from the most fearsome creatures known to man, but that's only a minor concern at the beginning. From the outset, observation posts and roads need to be constructed to form the basic structures of each park. An easy enough task, but just remember to start out small so that your limited resources can handle the maintenance and the initial selection of dinos available. Investing money in fossil research uncovers valuable DNA samples, which can then be used to populate your lost world with a wider range of Jurassic biological creations.
the arrival of our newest dinosaurs.
Slaughtering your dinos unnecessarily wastes valuable funds and a lengthy breeding process. But if you really have no remorse in blasting your star attractions, then a range of side missions helps to break up the sedate, business-like approach of theme park management. Ranging from photographic recon missions to publicise Jurassic Park in the press, to the more action-orientated pursuit of sniping at dinos who threaten to eat your paying public, these 12-odd missions are more a diversion than anything else. But nevertheless, they provide a welcome break from the chores of park building, adding a touch of excitement to the wealth of strategy on offer. It may be a full decade late, but Jurassic Park Operation Genesis is a surprisingly good movie tie-in. It might look a bit rough round the edges, but laid-back strategy fans will find enough depth of play for at least a month's worth of their attention. Trigger-happy action fans, on the other hand, should look elsewhere.
Oh, yes. You have a T-Rex. Don't forget, he's a hunter. Design it, build it, breed dinosaurs. It's yours. Jurassic Park.
Saturating your brain with mind-altering chemicals was the crux of the original PS1 Galerians outing. But the drugs clearly didn't work, and the spooky, plot-driven adventure lacked the pick-up and playability of the Res Evil series it desperately tried to imitate. The loyal few who embraced this mutant hybrid of 1,000 survival horror games to their PS1 bosom will know most of the background flannel already. Dorothy, the computer mother brain, has completely misplaced her marbles and conjured up the genetically engineered race of evil Galerians. Luckily, our heroes Rion and Lilia were implanted with the very same virus that destroyed the central computer. Now enter Ash, the sole surviving Galerian, who is seeking to reanimate Dorothy and set the world on fire.
Sure you want to go down? What the hell are you thinking? It's pure suicide!
After seemingly hours of cutscenes explaining the above storyline, the action settles down into the usual survival horror pursuit of key finding, stumbling along corridors in search of mind-altering stimulants, and fighting a range of slightly horrifying monsters.
I said open the shutters!
Yes, the drugs enhance your psychic battle abilities as before, so get high on D-Felon and you can pick up your enemies with your mind and smash them on the ground. However, prolonged drug abuse will max out your addiction points, leaving you a disorientated, slurring mess. Admittedly, everything looks nice and plays well. The level design and structure is pretty stunning, and the combat's reasonably user-friendly. But the role-playing elements just aren't strong enough to keep you hooked, and after a few days solid play, you'll be done. You could say it's a proper survival horror like it used to be, and that's the problem, as there's nothing here to compete with the modern Devil May Cry and Silent Hill classics, which thankfully have moved on, reinvented themselves, and grown up a bit. football faithful gets too excited, here's the harsh reality. This is not the long-awaited third installment of the best footy series ever, but the third attempt by one of Pro Evolution Soccer's biggest rivals to steal some of its thunder.
Wilmots! It's hit the post!
If it's arcade action you're after, ISS 3 captures the entire ball-flicking trickery in true FIFA fashion, and thankfully remains true to the Pro Evolution Soccer button combinations. The actual movement and control might feel spongy and less precise than PES, but the pleasing familiarity is ideal for those quick pick-up and play moments. And despite the occasional jerkiness, ISS 3 plays a decent game of footy. The touches are satisfying and the player animation is delightful, especially when unleashing the thunderous drive at the goal.
What a goal! What an absolute quality goal! That was a great finish, but with a keeper of his calibre and track record, we certainly expected him to deal with that one.
Coming down the right.
And when you really need to dupe the defence, you can close in on the action through the L1 button, zooming in for some close control mastery. Slightly over the top, admittedly, but fun nevertheless, and more than just a gimmick, as it does come in handy for those pressure situations.
An equaliser! That was a fabulous goal. If the scores are level at the end of the 90 minutes
the level of AI could do with a little more consistency, and even on the normal difficulty level, players will inexplicably give the ball away 1 minute and turn your defence inside out the next. But the big disappointment with ISS 3 is the lack of any Master League or club team selection.
Nothing the keeper could do. He was totally off balance and the ball sailed into the net.
The novel Mission Mode does provide a series of increasingly difficult challenges, with each match requiring a certain stipulation to be met before you win, but it's hardly a worthy substitute overall.
Straight into the keeper's arms. They say a team is at its most vulnerable after scoring, and that's just been proven. Now to Scholes.
It's hard to recommend this over the sublime ultra-realism of PES 2. Nevertheless, it's still an enjoyable attempt with its arcade styling and worth considering alongside the 2003 incarnations of FIFA and This Is Football.
A goal here, and they take the lead.
Must all games really be this bad? Essentially, Dark Angel's a scrolling beat-em-up that desperately seeks the fully fledged adventure game status. The setting is 21st century Seattle, in a US that has been reduced to a third world country by the devastating Pulse, an electromagnetic attack that eradicated the American infrastructure.
Hey, I think I heard your mama call.
As a child, Max escaped from her military creators Manticore, along with a handful of her genetically engineered siblings, before making a home for herself on the seedy streets, along with Logan, wealthy playboy, computer rebel, and champion of the oppressed.
That's right.
Now Max feels she can build herself a new life if she can locate her missing siblings and overcome her internal conflict between the woman she wants to be and the soldier she was born as.
Nice chance to make a run for it.
The action gets fairly violent, making the most of Max's enhanced agility, strength and stealth. You can carve your way through 25 simplistic missions using unique evasive moves, enhanced vision and those slow-mo bullet time effects that we're all so completely sick of. As you progress through the game, you'll unlock Max's soldier within and unleash even faster and more devastating moves, which unfortunately do very little in relieving the repetitive tedium of it all. graphics are decent enough. The zoomed out view is annoying, but the first person viewing mode and the stealth cam are fine.
Boy, man.
But we can't help thinking that a great concept has been overly soiled somewhere in the development process. It could have been fun, but it isn't. Simple as that. Veterans of wacky Japanese fighter games worship the Guilty Gear name above all others. And whilst this latest incarnation of old-school gaming pales in comparison to the slick 3D wonders of Tekken 4 and Soul Calibur 2, Guilty Gear stalwarts will undoubtedly fall for its 2D charms, regardless of our worldly expert opinions. It's not that we don't like it, it's just that we've been down the 2D beat-em-up road countless times before, and this particular genre is starting to look very tired. And let's be honest, Guilty Gear X2 just isn't the kind of game to generate mass market appeal, with the average PS2 owner having moved on from this gaming format ages ago. But for those anime-crazed loons among you, it's all a question of gameplay, and quite rightly so. Where other games rely on a subtle balance between hand-to-hand combat and hefty combos, Guilty Gear's deep combat system is based purely around chainable moves and explosive combinations. Guilty Gear is renowned for its adoption of Capcom's chain combo system, and the invention of the Roman cancel is probably the best thing in 2D fighting games since the Super Meter was first introduced. And while there are a few essential tweaks to tone down the endless combo play and revise certain control functions, the gameplay soon becomes lost in the incomprehensible world of counters, super moves and mind-boggling maneuvers just as before. Understanding each character's moves is obviously the key to success then, which is why Guilty Gear veterans can smash the game to pieces by juggling their opponents and throwing in some really nice-looking fireballs and dragon punches to finish things off. Yes, you get 4 new characters and the graphics look, well, half decent, but consider this. Do you really want to spend all that time mastering a great, slightly flawed fighter like this when Soul Calibur 2 is just around the corner and looks infinitely superior? You thought not. In terms of playability, Vex isn't that bad. The levels are pleasing enough and pretty well designed, based around a series of parks covering a variety of platforming themes. Our eponymous hero Vex is after magical hearts, glowing organs of energy that are used to power up a trans-dimensional warp device. And for reasons best left unknown, these hearts have been scattered across 9 huge levels, cunningly hidden behind numerous puzzles and enemies. There's an agreeable assortment of styles to play across too, and some neat little touches that really go a long way in enhancing the overall appeal. For example, each level has a day-night cycle that subtly changes the behaviour of the inhabitants within. Find a sundial, however, and you'll be able to hop on and change the time. Very useful for opening up time-dependent gateways that lead to yet more challenging sub-levels. And like any platform hero worth his salt, Vex can climb, swim, and hang from ledges too, thanks to his handy gauntlets. Best of all though is a selection of combat moves, ranging from simple punch combos to flying kicks and ground pounds. The camera system is as unreliable as it always is in platform games, but at least you have complete control over it when it wanders off. And for such a vertical game, Vex can't jump very far without a shoulder button being held down in a rather awkward super jump maneuver. Whilst Vex lacks the immediate pulling power of Jak and Daxter or Ratchet and Clank, it's still a nice playable outing with a difficulty level that's pleasingly pitched slightly above those two. The worlds are nice and big, and there's lots of nice quests too, and the whole thing is, well, nice really, and that's as far as it goes. It's hardly a brand new recipe, but one that nevertheless passes away the time without being overly annoying. If you were expecting a full-on sequel, then we're sorry to disappoint. Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution isn't it. Think of this as a repackaged update of the original, a semi-sequel, Virtua Fighter 4.5 if that makes it easier.
Ready? Go!
In keeping with tradition, only fully fledged Virtua Fighter sequels have enjoyed a new lineup of fighters, but developer AM2 has now seen fit to raise the number of entrants in this handy new update from 13 to 15. The most immediately striking is the super hard Brad Burns. Brad's been up for a decent punch-up for quite some time now, with a style that resembles Vanessa's MT stance. And with nobody in his region left to do battle with, this previously undefeated champion has finally made it to the World Fighting Tournament. The remaining newcomer is judo expert Go Hinagami, a highly trained assassin for a shadowy organisation known as J6. With orders from his commanding officer to appear in the World Fighting Tournament, his presence is certainly welcome, although his sluggish moves make him tricky to use. In terms of performance, it loads quicker, it looks better, and it's in a higher resolution as well. The visual updates also include the missing bits from the previous Virtua Fighter 4 port from arcade, and overall, it's a noticeable improvement. But does it have the power to knock down Soul Calibur 2? Well, unfortunately not. Soul Calibur's impressive lineup of new characters and moves gives it a clear win. Plus, it looks much, much prettier. Hey! Resident Evil's survivor code Veronica was a real disappointment, and at the time was hardly a fitting epitaph for the fine series on PS2. The monsters weren't scary, and the whole experience was so poor it wasn't even funny. But Capcom is nothing if not persistent, hence a fourth attempt to turn Resident Evil into a gun game is close at hand. The story is a simple one. A rather nasty T-virus has infected a cruise liner, and it's up to you to sort it out with your super nails harder-than-hard ability to wield a light gun. Over the course of each mission, you're now given the option of switching control between two new Resident Evil characters, a chap by the name of Bruce McGavin and a female, Bong Lin. As before, wave upon wave of nightmare monster men form an orderly line to stare down the barrel of your gun, which this time is capable of propelling everyday bullets, hyper-explosive grenades and chest-excavating shotgun shells. And unsurprisingly, your task is simply to survive the onslaught. The route you must take is pretty simple to identify. The objectives are invariably based around opening doors and fighting large hostile mutations, and dead aim is supposedly easier to control than the previous Gun Survivor titles, although we'll believe that when we see it. Yes, fingers crossed, navigating could be less awkward thanks to a new control system that combines the USB mouse with Namco's GunCon 2 light gun, which should help enormously. As will the masterful decision to split the action 50-50 between first and third person sections for a classic Resident Evil feel. But could Dead Aim offer a reprieve for the Gun Survivor series? Well, almost. Quite possibly, in fact. It really is just too soon to tell. But with Network Resident Evil recently revealed also, we know which one we'd rather be playing.
Let us pray.
一人の男の憎悪が一つの町を廃墟に変えた。兄さん。黒き陰を担う騎士はかつて友と呼んだ男。
Capcom is on a survival horror roll, with Devil May Cry 2, Clock Tower 3 and 2 Res Evil games loitering in the shadows. The master of horror is ready to unleash more heavy-handed gothic action. Similar in many ways to Devil May Cry, Chaos Legion is an arcade role-playing slasher hybrid with a heavy emphasis on Dynasty Warrior-style epic combat thrown in for good measure. Sounds impressive. And another jaw-dropping facet of this game is Capcom's promise to blend the gameplay and movie scenes into one seamless epic battle, something it's never really achieved to full effect in its previous titles. Sieg Wright is the master swordsman in this epic adventure, and players must pursue the mysterious disappearance of Sieg's best buddy, Victor Delacroix, who has fallen foul to a magical darkness, evolving into a master Legion warrior. Like most good adventure games, swordplay is king, and the ability to summon magical legions to your side certainly adds to the thrill of it all. These legions are Sieg's allies to be called forth when the going gets tough, providing extra muscle with weapons that really hurt. These devoted shades can rush the enemy when ordered to do so, or fall back to form a defensive shield around Sieg when it all goes pear-shaped. There's a total of 7 allied unit types in all: shield, bomber, sword, claw, power, archer, and the giant legion itself, each of whom carries strengths and weaknesses through various battle scenarios. And rest assured you'll need them, as crawling through endless city streets, encountering foul creatures and ruthless bosses at every turn will take all the strategy and legion management you can muster. Unsurprisingly, Capcom is keeping Sturm over this one for the time being, so enjoy this hell-hacking footage until our next exclusive peek.
俺に関わるな。貴様の命必ずもらい受ける。
1963 saw the first appearance of the now cult classic The Great Escape, featuring the largest mass breakout ever from the escape-proof Stalag Luft 3 prisoner of war camp. This still popular masterpiece is now coming to PS2.
Welcome to Stalag Luft 10. The rules here are simple. It is forbidden to be outside your hut during the night. Violation of this rule will result in your suppression and arrest. Carrying a weapon, attacking a guard, or stepping into the warning wire is both forbidden and fatal. Violation will result in you being shot.
Unsurprisingly, there are going to be many comparisons to the recent Prisoner of War title, which also took a lot of inspiration from this movie genre. But The Great Escape focuses strongly on the powerful storyline and strong characters from the film, casting you into the heart of the action you've seen so many times at Christmas. In some stages, you'll get the chance to make use of vehicles, with a number of machines available for commandeering. There's even an action sequence on a moving train. And of course, you'll have your chance to take part in that final awesome motorbike finale. According to those Xbox idiots, Splinter Cell poops all over Metal Gear Solid 2, offering a more playable, accessible and enjoyable undercover experience, supposedly. Admittedly, Splinter Cell is a lot easier to control. Sam Fisher's movement uses the classic twin-stick method, which should ensure even a PS2 owner with the most meager games collection will feel at home within seconds. But despite this simplicity behind the pad, Splinter Cell is an absolute rock-solid experience to get through. Stealth is king here, and with the enemy constantly primed and ready, there's no room whatsoever for blundering about in the dark. You'll be dead within seconds. But obvious frustrations aside, you simply cannot help being drawn into a challenge of this caliber, as you think, plan, creep, and constantly pray that the enemies won't spot you. Sam's quite a nimble old fart too, performing double jumps and the splits too, which comes in dead handy for wedging his body high up above enemies in alleyways. As you might expect, the near-future, top-secret conspiratorial world comes complete with wonderful toys, and Sam carries everything from the bog-standard pistol to a highly specialised pair of shades, which at the flick of a D-pad lets him activate night or thermal vision, and damn handy they are too. Lights must be shot out if you're to remain undetected, and if you're feeling really crazy, you can find the light switch and deactivate them using the more traditional approach. Splinter Cell really pushes PS2 when it comes to creating light and shade effects. Shadows dance along walls as you go, and entire locations have their beautiful interior design hidden by complete darkness, only to be revealed when Fisher lays on the night vision. Splinter Cell and Metal Gear Solid 2 have a lot in common, but no, they are in no way identical twins. Sam has more moves and his game is much harder and stealth is absolutely essential. But MGS2 is simply too gorgeous, and you even get to lark about on a skateboard in one of Substance's many side games. Either way, the arrival of Splinter Cell to PS2 can only be seen as a good thing. Championship Snooker 2003 is on its way, and this time it's boasting a whole new complex AI system that makes use of neural network techniques, an enhanced visual engine and improved game physics, which all means that we should be in for the most realistic and challenging game of virtual snooker yet. There are 28 professional players represented within the game, including the current top 6 ranked players in the world. All of these have been accurately modelled with a high level of detail, right down to their movements and facial expressions. There's a TV realistic match presentation involving camera views from a wide variety of angles, along with some superb particle effects and other detailed touches. You even get a commentary provided by Dennis Taylor, just to enhance that authentic atmosphere. The main game features a championship structure that's been appropriately updated for the 2002-2003 season, and other game modes include European 8-ball pool, American 9-ball pool, and an entertaining trick shot mode. There's even an extensive range of unlockable secrets to reward continued effort, allowing you to access various new venues, tables, trick shots and trophies, as well as new waistcoats and other items for player customization. A great deal of thought and effort has been put into this new look for international snooker, and it really shows in the beautiful presentation and pinpoint accurate physics modelling. Now all you need to do is learn to play snooker properly.
I noticed you got 3 X's on your neck. That's appropriate since you're looking at 3 strikes. Grand Theft Auto, reckless endangerment, and that little bridge stunt of yours.
Excuse me while I kiss the sky.
But if you do what I want, I'll make all your criminal transgressions go away.
Since he's the antithesis of any preconceived idea of what a secret agent is.
And I like to refer to XXX as the all-American anti-hero. It's not the guy who does the right thing because he believes in all the good principles. It's the guy who does the right thing because that's what circumstances demand.
And the kind of bad guys you have to deal with, you have to find someone who's on the same page as those bad guys.
The story is pushed even further by making him the least likely to become a secret agent and work for any government institution.
I'm a secret agent. I want you to meet some people and find out whatever you can about them.
What type of people?
Dirty, dangerous, your kind of people.
The character of Xander decides to save the world, and Yogi decides to save the world by way of destroying it.
You can kill millions.
He's got an army. The fortress, you don't stand a chance.
I trained with the best rock climbers, and I trained with the best motocross experts, and I trained with the snowboarding experts, and I trained with Navy SEALs, and all the different aspects of Xander's proficiency had to be worked out in pre-production. So I'm a thrill seeker myself to some degree, and I just completely enjoyed that process.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
I've always been a huge Sam Jackson fan, pre-Pulp Fiction.
Van and I have a relationship anyway. We met years ago in London when he was doing Saving Private Ryan and I was doing Star Wars. We accidentally ran into each other in a and a sushi bar, and spent some time together. And since then, every time we connect positively.
It's really surprised me in this movie. I didn't expect. He's a very, very down-to-earth person and very giving.
She was a real find, and we were, it was a blessing to find her.
I love action movies. I really love these big American movies. I love to watch them. I find them much more fun than some artsy European, boring, like blah blah movies.
Ready and action!
Being able to work in an environment with a director that is so your partner and so in your corner and so ambitious, and the two of you can be as ambitious as you want to be and know that you have each other's back is a great environment to work in.
Vin Diesel is Triple X.
The things I'm gonna do for my country.
Someone seems sad. They don't have any friends. That makes me feel bad for them.
Who is that and doesn't have any friends?
Sigh.
The photo guy at the 1 Hour place? We really don't know that much about him, you know? I mean, he might even have a lot of friends. And he probably has a girlfriend and a mommy and a daddy who love him.
I don't think he does.
I've been doing mini lab work for over 20 years now. I consider it an important job.
Hi, Mrs. Yorkin. Can I get that address again?
Yes, it's
326 Serrano Terrace.
What you got there, family photos?
Sure.
Yeah, you mind if I take a look?
You're a very lucky man, Mr. Yorkin. You have a wonderful family. And if you don't mind my saying so, a very beautiful house, too.
I'm sorry?
According to the Oxford English Dictionary, the word snapshot was originally a hunting term. You have to look like you're having fun. Smile.
Pretend! This is all pretend! Come on! Now!
Academy Award winner Robin Williams. 1 Hour Photo.
I love you.
FBI! Get down!
What the hell is going on?
They were accusing me of something that I did not do.
I'm an attorney.
What is my husband being accused of? Murder?
Yes, if convicted, he'll get the death penalty. You saying that you were framed by Brigadier General Marks? He was Colonel Bill Marks back then.
Are you Charles W. Grimes?
What do you want?
The military has set up my husband.
We had 7 eyewitness statements, all IDing Chapman was the shooter.
Only 2 of these witnesses for the prosecution are on their list. And what happened to the other 5? Witnesses were murdered.
He's trying to scare us. Maybe you don't know how these people work.
Find out where your husband was on January 20th, 1997. Look it up, Claire. It's important.
You don't believe me, do you?
Teach techniques and to beat a polygraph.
That way, when they lie, they're not really lying.
How do I know who you are?
Claire, you're the only one who knows who I am.
Caution might be the order of the day for you.
I am not afraid of you.
You don't care about the truth.
What are you working on?
Haven't you noticed that you've been unlucky lately?
Ashley Judd, Morgan Freeman.
I've already survived you once. The real question is, will you survive me?
Okay, guys, here we go.
You're often, as a filmmaker, looking for some kind of mythic story or a story that holds a mythic weight.
What's Papa's job? He goes on missions for Mr. Rooney.
Connor, what the hell are you thinking?
We saw everything.
Can you keep a secret?
He's my son.
From the Academy Award-winning director of American Beauty, Sam Mendes, comes an epic story of a father and son brought together by tragedy. Road to Perdition. Starring two-time Academy Award winner Tom Hanks, Oscar-winning screen legend Paul Newman,
Well, back to work.
and Oscar nominee Jude Law.
Haley, Mark. Ultimately, it's a story of sons being able to grow up in a better world than their fathers grew up in.
You have to listen to me now, or else both of us are dead.
It's a film about people and emotions and relationships, parents and children, which we've all had.
Brought together by the father and son producing team of Richard and Dean Zanuck, this all-star cast and crew has accumulated 43 Oscar nods.
That's good.
I think I'm the only one here without an Oscar. So you really have 4 great generations, starting with the iconic Paul Newman.
Well, they sent me a script. It was a marvelous part, and I liked the story.
Ready, quiet, please.
64 Apple, take 5. Sons are put on this earth to trouble their fathers.
I definitely felt like a son around Paul Newman, and he probably slugged me for saying it, but I was watching Paul Newman to see how he carried himself, and I was listening to when he would talk about anything from, racing cars to some of the other films that he'd worked on in the past.
He's extraordinary, still like full of beans and energy and inspiration to be better and get better, and I mean, he's already a legend.
I've always loved you like a son, and now I'm telling you, leave before it's too late.
What's exciting to me about all of these people is they're all cast against type. They're all playing very, very dark figures, very mysterious figures who reveal themselves to be not what they seem.
It was one of these kind of things where I couldn't believe this was landed in my lap. I can't believe you're going to let me play something like this.
Tom is so amazing to work with. He works such incredibly hard, long hours and every day.
Okay. I had no idea how to open the cast.
It's amazing. You go up and you see Tom Hanks and he's talking to you and you're like, oh yeah, wait, that's Tom Hanks. That's Jude Law. It's just amazing.
Watch out for the tractor.
Watch out for the tractor! Watch out for the tractor!
We made it! Oh yeah, we made it. You've discovered this incredible universal truth that fathers and sons have to come together in some sort of reconciliation, sooner or later.
You can end this now. You gotta take him now.
You won't make it. You're not with a little boy. This is the life we chose, the life we lead. And there is only one guarantee. None of us will see heaven. Michael could.
It's always a challenge when approaching the creation of a new game. There is pressure to do something different, to lead the way, to deliver even better characters. environments, and stories. Over the years with Tomb Raider, each adventure has broken new ground and taken the player to even more exotic locations and arenas. And now onto a new arena, the next generation console.
Our vision is to take the player somewhere dark, a place they might not necessarily wish to go, but a place that they'll have to venture if they want to bring Lara back.
This world is from the imagination, but based in reality. A dark world, a dangerous world, a world that reflects the change in Lara.
It will be a new experience, one that will almost be shocking to people who have played Tomb Raider in the past.
From the catacombs of the Louvre to the alleys of Prague, we searched for the seedier side of life. A world that you wouldn't normally see Lara in, but a world that she has no choice but to inhabit.
Like her audience, like the game's consoles themselves, Lara has grown up. Her experiences in Tomb Raider 4 have forced her to question herself. This game will ask more questions of her.
It was a very conscious decision to leave out elements of Lara's story since Tomb Raider 4. Certain aspects of that story will return. It's just a matter of when and where.
For the first time, Lara will have a moral choice to make. It's no longer a clear-cut case of good versus evil. This is a more complex tale which will ask more complex questions of the player.
The player controls how the story develops much more than in previous Tomb Raiders. Basically, when Lara talks to a character, the player can also choose whether Lara is nice, nasty, or dismissive to another character.
This game sets a new benchmark for character animation. The new consoles allow for an unprecedented level of subtlety in the way the characters can act. Some characters may betray more than their feelings. In this world, the player should look as well as listen.
The advancements in game technology allow for much more complex movement from the characters. They have spines, joints, they even have fingers. They move in different ways. We borrow these movements from real people. The man on the A57, the woman on the bus. They travel much further than they think.
The player will choose which paths to take, which characters to trust, which lies to believe, and which enemy to face.
Some enemies may become allies. Some enemies may become something far worse.
Certain enemies have taken years of conception, gestating through design and redesign. I am the first to see them born, the first to guide them through the early stages, their first steps, their first kills, until they are finally unleashed upon the world.
When you walk into this world, you walk into a film with multiple paths and possibilities, but one story drawing you through. This world begins in an act of darkness. How this world ends is up to you.
This is a world of shadows. There is a shadow on Lara. He watches, waits, he bides his time. His name is Curtis. He wants revenge. And Lara will help him extract that revenge. For the first time, there is another playable character in Tomb Raider. A character whose abilities combine the supernatural with the superhuman. He has a different approach to Lara, less subtle perhaps, but still effective against certain opponents.
It's a much more intelligent game for the enemies as well as Lara. The PlayStation 2's got much more power to process enemies doing much more complicated things.
The enemies in the game have evolved. They will work together. Notice when another enemy is killed and react accordingly.
These enemies will pursue Lara. They will not stop. They have not stopped in 600 years.
The Monstrum, the Cabal, Eckhart. An unholy trinity guided by an unspeakable force. Their origins lie in the annals of alchemy, not in its purported search for the secrets of gold, but in its real search for the secrets of the atom. If you control the atom, you can control life. You can create life, and you can steal life from others.
This story is very much on an epic scale, from 14th century alchemists to serial killers in modern day France. To create something on this scale, it was necessary to take the ideas and production values from the film industry, in the way they research the subjects, the backstory they create for their characters, and the depth of the visuals.
This level of production requires a total consistency of purpose. Every aspect of the game has to be in keeping with the overall concept. Every person working on the game knows that they are working on an epic, and everything they do has to reflect that, from concept to completion.
For the music to match the scale of the production, we decided to use the same process that major film studios use. In this case, the London Symphony Orchestra.
It's an overwhelming thought having your music played by 84 of the world's top musicians, but the effect of the music when playing Angel of Darkness will be well worth the shredding of our nerves.
On the day of the recording, we are in the good hands of Abbey Road Studios and David Snell, the conductor. In a sense, he visualises the music and translates it to the ears.
We wanted the music to be ever present, draw you into the world without you noticing. Part of the style of this game is that all the elements work together, bide their time, wait for the moments when they are needed.
At core, we had a very clear vision of where we wanted to go. We wanted to take the Lara we all knew and put it into a game, a situation that no one knows. Tomb Raider has always set the benchmark for games. This game will be no different.
Some may see elements of various filmmakers, such as Luc Besson, David Fincher.
Some may see elements of various artists, Grunwald, Bosch. All will see something they haven't seen before.
When we wrote this story, we wrote a book. This game is only the first few chapters of that book. This game opens a lot of doors and only closes a few of them.
Venus and Braves is the sequel to the grossly underappreciated RPG 7, which arrived on PS2 about 2 years ago. This time, there's a whole new storyline to get into, but the game still makes good use of the unique rotation battle system.
予言に立ち向かい、未来を作ってください。
The new story revolves around a staid individual, going by the somewhat sinister name of Blood Bowl. Blood is the leader of a band of warriors who defend their city from monsters. Blessed with eternal life and youth, he manages to still be fighting fit at the ripe old age of 345. This agelessness leads to the unfortunate side effect of his allies growing old and dying, while Blood battles on endlessly. Each of his companions has their age recorded, as well as the age at which their abilities peak and the age at which they will die. It's all very morbid, but it does lead to all manner of interesting story arcs and plot lines.
ブラッドボアル、受け取りなさい。あなたに予言書を授けましょう。
The rotation battle system brings a whole different strategy to the combat scenes. Here you get to line up your forces on a 3x4 grid where characters on the different ranks can influence the battle in different ways, such as attacking directly, healing those around them, or hurling effects at the enemy ranks. While there may be no fancy cinematics to accompany the story, Venus and Braves manages a special charm all of its own. There's some nice attention to detail, especially in the animations, and we're even promised online battles against live players using the PS2 broadband. Well worth investigating.
say? You volunteering, alias?
All response teams, full alert. This is not drill.
Oh. Yuck.
Matrix has been developed under the creative direction of the Matrix filmmakers Larry and Andy Wachowski, and is designed to be an integral part of the Matrix Reloaded storyline, weaving in and out of the movie to provide a more complete picture of the events unfolding there. As you'd expect from any good Matrix game, there's plenty of awesome gunplay, assisted with the classic, but perhaps slightly overused, bullet time effect, along with incredible kung fu sequences directed by Yung Wo Ping, the movie's fight scene choreographer. As you progress through the game, you'll have your chance to take part in the intense, gravity-defying action sequences against the sinister agents, as well as getting to take the helm of the Logos, the fastest hovercraft in the Zion fleet, participating in fantastic chase scenes packed full of amazing stunts. But as you know, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself.
No reception.
We need to get that key. See if you can call Sparks from the roof.
Me first apologize
For what?
for this.
Sparks, charge up the EMP. Here's one. I read the game script and it was all this action flipping out the car windows. And I was like, how are they going to shoot all of this? They're going to shoot 2, 3, and this video game script. And then when I found out later there was going to be a game, I thought that was cool. I thought that was really cool. I really did, because I love video games. Resident Evil is like my favorite. So when I found out there was going to be a video game and kind of the nature of it, I was like, that's hot. That is hot. So I was down for that for sure. I am. I'm really excited to be a video game character. I don't think there's any video games that really has any black females that I can recall at this particular point in time. But I think that's really exciting. I really do. For many different reasons. Many different reasons. I could go on and tell you why that is. But, and the fact that I enjoy playing video games. I think it'll be pretty cool playing myself. So I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to get on the game and play myself and say, did I really walk like that? You know, it'll be a bit surreal, but I think it'll be really exciting to actually sit down with that Sony PlayStation or Xbox or whatever and just take up those joysticks and go for it. Well, the game works as a parallel universe with the movies. So if when you go to see Matrix Reloaded, this is a metaphor, you're in the living room and you're seeing what's happening with Trinity and Neo. The game shows you what is happening in the bathroom or the billiard room of the same house at the same time. When you first enter the game, you enter an apprenticeship in the way that Neo enters an apprenticeship with Morpheus in the first movie. So there's a training tutorial aspect of the game. So even before you sit down to start actually doing the gameplay, what will happen is Sparks and myself and Niobe will train the player. So we'll actually get you to practice your kicks. We'll actually get you to practice to shoot guns. We'll actually get you to practice how to take on an agent or a sentinel. So you have a training, and you got to get through that first. So once you get a little level of mastery, then you enter the real game, and you can choose either Niobe or Ghosts. Now, if you choose Niobe, you get her perspective. I'm in that game, obviously, but you'll get her perspective, and you'll use her strengths. For example, Niobe is the fastest driver in all of Matrix Land, and Ghost is the best gunner in all of Matrix Land. So you'll obviously go in with certain strengths and certain challenges, whichever character you choose.
And the boys had this very unique idea about the video game, that they wanted to make the video game directly related to the movie. So where there are some scenes in the movie that'll have interaction between characters and they'll stop in the movie, that scene will continue in the game. The same characters, the same location, and then that will continue and feature into the next part of the game. Now, you have to understand that those scenes are written by the boys, directed by the boys, cut by the boys. So they're actually directly involved in the making of the video game, which was their idea from the beginning, which has never been done before. Because the game is a martial arts game, it's a driving game, it's a shooting game, it's many different, has many different levels. As you get to these parts of the game, you connect with parts of the movie that give you more information. It's a completely new way of experiencing the video game concept, as well as incorporating it into the experience of the movie. Also because the Wachowski brothers did write the game themselves. They understand video gaming, so they wrote this game, and by having them write the game, it directly relates to the movie. It's not some software designer in San Diego writing a game, it's them writing the game. Jada's character, Anthony's character, does things you've never seen game characters do. There's different kinds of running, different kinds of walking. There's different ways of getting around things. When they shoot up a room, they actually shoot up the room. You don't just, it really has so many, there's so many permutations to everything. So if you play as Anthony, it's not the same game as you play as Jada. It's a different game, and different things can occur. It's everything for everybody.
Seen the surface.
It's nothing now but one big graveyard. Oh my God.
It's an army.
What is that thing?
Some kind of tunneling machine.
Oh no.
What?
Look where we are. What's 4 kilometers straight down?
Scion.
Go, go, go! Someone has to get to a drop point.
What? Are you crazy? We can't broadcast now.
We have to.
I'll go.
There isn't much time.
I'll make it.
Welcome to the new stage of history.
How pathetic.
Battle 1. Fight!
Raphael Sorel is an idealistic French nobleman whose choices have led him from noted peerage through soldier to refugee and rogue. Now he has a fanatical ambition to eliminate the warring upper classes that have turned France into a battleground, and he believes that Soul Edge has the power to make this happen.
On guard! Ready?
Raphael uses La Rapier de Sorel school of swordsmanship, and he even looks the quintessential swashbuckling scoundrel. His rapier is more than capable of delivering a barrage of piercing attacks, and these moves are nicely complemented with an assortment of fiendish snap kicks, stylish and deadly.
On guard! On guard! On guard! On guard! Imperfect! Welcome. Fight!
Since Sophia settled down to raise a family, her younger sister Cassandra Alexandra has become the new bearer of the Omega sword and Nemi shield. So when Sophia's husband discovered a fragment of Soul Edge, it fell to Cassandra to seek the advice of the gods and set forth once more to destroy the blade. Like her sister, Cassandra is a skilled proponent of the Athenian-style fighting school. She wields the same sword and shield, and lots of her moves will be very familiar to fans of the Greek heroine. And once more, the Nemi shield serves well in both defense and as a surprise offense for those who don't pay attention.
Watch out! Welcome to...
I'm itching for a fight. Don't worry.
Hong Young-sung studied martial arts at the same school as Hwang Sung-kyung, but his hopes of challenging and defeating that skilled warrior were thwarted. Now he wants to earn fame and respect by completing Hwang's quest and claiming the Sword of Salvation, better known as Soul Edge. Young-sung has trained in the Seung-style longsword school and takes the place of Hwang in the new lineup. His nimble moves easily compensate for his small stature, giving his lightning-fast sword an impressive reach and the opportunity to land plenty of ferocious strikes against the opposition.
Hear the scream of my sword!
Welcome. You conceited, wretched human! Battle 1. Fight!
After his climactic battle at the end of the original game, Nightmare awoke to the memory of his past. Racked with guilt, once again the honourable knight known as Siegfried, he travelled far away from civilization as Soul Edge fell apart in his hands. But as the sword's power regrew, so too did its power over him. Now Nightmare once more, the need to reforge the sword burned strongly within him again. Nightmare doesn't so much use a fighting school as simply channeling Soul Edge's power. The sword's tremendous reach and sheer strength provide most of the advantages to this style. But fans will also recognise the majority of his original moves, along with almost all of Siegfried's techniques as well.
Welcome.
Give up already. Be
After discovering the truth about her lineage, Isabella Valentine, better known as Ivy, went a little mad. Not that she was the sanest of people to begin with. In an effort to wipe out her evil heritage, she first tried to destroy her own creation, the Ivy Blade. But having failed in that, she now hopes to obliterate the source of the evil, Soul Edge itself.
I got you.
Ivy's exotic fighting style comes from the unrelated Link school of combat and focuses primarily on making the most of her exotic Ivy Blade.
I got you.
This whip sword was always one of the more challenging weapons to master, but she retains almost her entire repertoire of moves, as well as gaining some stunning new techniques to make anyone think twice about challenging her.
Welcome.
I am one with the wind.
Talon is the last priestess of the wind, an honoured position amongst her people, hidden in a secret valley in Southeast Asia. But her life of religious seclusion was shattered when Soul Edge's fragments scattered themselves across the world. And against her people's wishes, she set out to gather those pieces together and destroy their power once and for all. Talon practices the Wind Style school of fighting, a variation that features plenty of acrobatic flair, and she can use this edge to counter the speed and ferocity of other opponents. And although her short blades may have a limited range, they're still perfectly capable of delivering both fast and crippling strikes.
Go. Return to that from which you came.
Welcome to the new.
Ninjas are excellent when it comes to killing things, and Tenchu is designed in such a way as to offer players numerous routes to up the body count, and each level keeps you coming back for just another go. If you've made it through the level only getting spotted by a couple of guards, you'll want to go back and try it again, in the knowledge that you really could do the whole thing undetected and achieve the ultimate status of Master Ninja. In most situations, the best course of action is to go for a silent kill, but with legions of undead assailants to contend with also, it takes some nifty footwork to pass through without being detected. If you do arouse their suspicions, an icon triggers in the bottom left of the screen and lets you know that you've been clocked. You've then got a few panic-stricken moments to dissolve back into the shadows while your potential victims move in to investigate. If he sees nothing out of the ordinary, the terror subsides, but if there's no way to keep your head down, bloodshed is the only outcome. Vicious boss battles cap each level, and you'll always tackle the enemy head-on. At first they seem far too powerful, but you'll soon discover a strategy that can slice them in two. If you're skillful enough, and discovering the attack pattern to a seemingly invincible foe contrasts the leisurely sneaking about perfectly. As in previous Tenchu adventures, stealth is the ultimate aim, and as a reward for your silent assassination, you can unlock sparkling new combo attacks to unleash upon your victims. Each successful stealth attack helps to light up a long line of Japanese symbols in the bottom left of the screen. Get them all glowing and you're in business with gratuitous new attacks, which are pretty spectacular to look at. However, it's the more cunning ninja items that can be purchased pre-mission or picked up from fallen corpses that can really swing the fight in your favour. The grappling hook is the obvious lifesaver. Just aim at any wooden structure and you're rapidly whisked into the air onto a safer vantage point. Grenades and sticky bombs are worth carrying too, but our particular favourite has to be the highly unpronounceable Tetsubishi. With its handy piece of fishing line, you can reel in those wandering henchmen and finish them off in the safety of the shadows. The stealthier you can be, the greater the rewards. All this lurking about and killing people requires patient, thoughtful preparation, and unfortunately, the camera isn't always on your side. Manually manoeuvring the camera so that you can see everything ahead of you is a bit of a chore at the best of times, especially when embroiled in one of the numerous boss battles. Loads of great gadgets and ideas, it's just a shame about that camera. It's about time we had a decent ninja revival. Solid Snake and Sam Fisher may be the current masters of PS2 stealth, but lurking in the shadows are the true silent warriors from PS1 days of old. Creep forward then, Rikimaru, Teshu and AMA, the three protagonists in Tenchu Wrath of Heaven. In terms of plot, it's pretty much same old, with a villainous merchant kidnapping vast amounts of farmers' daughters and the local populace taking matters into their own hands. And as hired ninja talent, you must follow the trail of blood-splattered corpses and reawaken ancient mystical powers along the way. AMA is the nimblest of the bunch, with her twin blades slicing up her victims before they even caught a glimpse of her gorgeous curves. Rikimaru swaps two blades for one long sliver of steel, and the master of the ninja sneeze, Teshu, offers the most radical experience yet, with his solid iron fist approach to pummeling the enemy. Both AMA and Rikimaru are playable from the off, but to lay your hands on Teshu's new abilities, you'll have to smash the entire game first. While there are some nice touches to be found with the character's animation looking suitably athletic and some of the killing moves displaying a pleasingly gratuitous lethality, the graphics are hardly Tenchu's overall strong point. The colours are drab and the draw distance pretty short, and when compared to its closest stealth-based rival, Metal Gear Solid 2, it falls short by miles. It's not much of a looker, really. For the first time in its celebrated history, Tenchu now offers a full multiplayer experience with 2 modes of play. First up is Deathmatch, which offers the usual opportunity for 2 players to slice each other into little pieces until only one remains standing. Specific levels have been designed for the multiplayer game, but we're not sure about this vertical split screen business, which obscures practically everything. More intriguing are the cooperative missions. It doesn't make 2 of you play the entire game through in tandem, but it does offer a number of team-specific missions, and coordinating your actions makes for a fresh new twist on cooperative gaming. Big missions with multiple routes gives you complete freedom to plan things your way, whilst really taking time to absorb everything within each level. Heaps of cool ninja items efficiently and lethally help you tackle the multiple wandering routes of the enemy, and the stealth kills are immensely satisfying. But it's in the visual department and the attention to little details where Tenchu comes up short. It might sound harsh, but the graphics are a tad first generation, and the unwieldy camera system and controls have plagued the entire Tenchu series since its first outing. It's worthy of a look, but there's not much else here beyond the original PlayStation outings.